This is Malaya. Let me be.
Hello everyone, today I have a great pleasure to speak with Anja Zambelli. She is the founder of Zambelli Design. Anja, hi, it's great pleasure to have you in our group.
Yes.
Welcome.
Thanks
Hi.
for your invitation. It's really, really nice to be here.
Yes, thank you so much for joining us. For all of you guys, I just want to share this because it's kind of personal story, but Anja is actually also living in my hometown. And Anja's husband is a very good friend of mine, and we used to work together at a time when I was in Croatia. And Anja found this group by some research. So it's a great pleasure, Anja, to have you today. And I know you are already very successful entrepreneur. So for the people who are seeing you for the first time, can you share a little bit more about your business, your story, and how you became the founder of the Zambelli Design?
Yeah. So my story starts almost 20 years ago when I left Croatia. I went to study design. What should be like a best place to do design? It's Italy, of course. So I did the European Institute for Design and Domus Academy. And when I finished my studies, the plan was to move to the States. I went to the States, worked for a few days, stayed for a little while, and at that moment I just realized, okay, I want to go home. Finally, after like 5 or 6 years of living abroad, I just like needed to go home. When I came back to Croatia, you know what? Croatia is small, and it's in the center of Europe. It's somehow in those years nobody was talking about branding, nobody was talking about innovation and all this kind of new approach to product launch or whatever. So when I came back, what actually happened? I was overqualified. So I tried to knock so many doors, both in Rijeka and Zagreb, just like saying, okay, I did this MBA in design. I did the European Institute for Design. This is my portfolio. This is what I can help you with. But what happened? It's just like everybody was saying, okay, you're too young to do something like that. So you're overqualified. We cannot pay you what you're asking for and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And me coming from a family which my dad was like having his own company, my mom too. It was just like a totally organic, normal decision to go by myself. So I started Zambelli Brand Design, which actually at that time was called differently. It was called Design Strategist, but then I changed my mind and like decided to like grow all my story around my name and surname. So I started Zambelli Brand Design, I would say like 12 or 13 years ago here in Croatia. Mm-hmm. Started with really small projects, doing mainly graphic design because the market wasn't ready for strategy, wasn't ready for branding. And slowly, by talking to people, by doing events, by trying to convince people what is the right way, doing lots of pro bonos and stuff like that, at the end, quite a bit of years ago, we started to do branding strategy and like actual real branding processes where we are having strategy at the beginning of the process and then we are developing verbal and visual identity for brands. So few years ago, what we started to do is we started to export our products all around the world. We have clients from the States. We have clients from the Middle East, lots of them. We have few clients that are really, really nice collaborations. And we are mainly working on branding in the QSR industry, restaurants, fast foods, in the IT industry. We're doing lots of like startups, applications, this kind of things. Then we are doing tourism, of course, and hospitality. Being from Croatia, it's what you do. And we're doing also lots of products and lots of brandings in the medical sectors, from clinics to doctors, products. Yeah, this is what I do.
Thank you. And can you share one of the projects which you feel your work actually impact the company? You help them with the brand design, with the design, and maybe just share company name and as a case study so people can realize what is the work actually you are responsible and your company is responsible for the success of the business, of different businesses.
Yeah, sure. So, one of the last thing that we did, and that was actually the one that was published in the Logo Lounge book for their 11th edition, was the Surf Cafe restaurants from Dubai, which actually at the beginning of the project they were called the Surf Cafe. They were a chain of restaurants from Dubai and Abu Dhabi, and they called us on the project because what was going on is that they had like a huge gap between what they're offering the market, like the quality of the food, the quality of the experience, the quality of the whole thing, the interior, and so on, was like at one like stage, while their branding didn't follow. So people weren't perceiving their values, weren't perceiving what kind of food they will encounter there, what kind of experience. So we were called on the projects, and we spent with them our first phase, the strategy phase. What happened is that we needed to change the whole thing, change the name, put the founder at the middle of the experience, and rename the chain into Leens, and creating a new category, which is casual to gourmet. And actually what we did for Leens is that we finally told their story, which is the story of a gourmet food in a really casual environment. So what you're experiencing there, it's like let's say an experience of a 5-star or 4-star hotel from one side, but you're in a really casual environment, just wearing flip-flops and just like feeling really at your ease. What happens, like as a result of our process, one thing that I'm particularly proud about, it's that nobody noticed their rebranding, which is actually a great thing, because what happens usually during rebranding processes is that you're losing your clients, you are gaining new ones, but it's not that it's like you're gaining new ones on top of the rest. Usually you're losing some and then you're gaining some. Here what happened is that they're just maintain all the clients that they had, and then they started finally to like invite others. And nowadays they're open 2 more outlets, both in Dubai, and unfortunately the pandemic did its part, but a few months ago I was talking to them, and like their development is just like really, really nice, and I'm really proud about the whole process because it went really, really smooth, and the client listened all of our inputs, and we had such a great collaboration, and the result followed. So yeah.
Wow, that's impressive that you're from Rijeka, and then you got that kind of experience to work for the brands in Dubai. We know the competition is really tough. It's international market, international competition. So it's a great achievement. And Anja, for our members who are entrepreneurs, let's say they're on a different level of entrepreneurship journey. Some of them, they already have established brands. Some of them, they're just starting developing the company and the team. So what would be your suggestion when people considering branding as a strategy for really communicate and position themselves with logo, with slogan, with philosophy, with the message, all these very, very key points to be recognized in an industry? Is that better to think completely from the beginning, or is better to have some proof that you have a clear idea who is your target market, that you have results, and then you can actually start to think about the branding? What will be your insight on that topic?
Yeah, my insight on that topic is never stop branding. Yeah, it's just like you need to do it at the beginning of the process, but obviously being like a startup or being just like on your first steps of your journey, obviously you won't have enough information to do it the right way, which is perfectly fine. So what we suggest always, and what would be best for your followers to know, it's you start from somewhere, you create a smaller, let's say, a startup for your startup brand, and then just launch it, and then during time go back to the beginning and try to put all the inputs that you learned during the process inside again, and then start with some faceliftings. We don't call it rebrandings, we call it facelifting, when you are actually changing the 10 to 20% of your branding. Because if you are changing too much, then you're starting to have a totally different ground for branding, and it would be always better to start another brand than just like try to like adjust an existing one. So to answer your question, I would say that each startup, each like new journey, new beginning needs a branding process. But yes, it can somehow be like modulated during time to fit better the market.
So what will be the trend which you can recognize during this COVID? We all know like the e-commerce just explode. It's they have a results better than ever in history. So is there any trend you can realize that it's like a global trend on the market? And if that's the case, what companies actually they have to understand how they can improve, how they can refresh without losing the existing client base?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what I really loved what happened during the COVID pandemic, what I think it's one of the best things that have actually happened, is that all the small producers, all the small initiatives, all the small brands at one point were important as the big ones, because you weren't going to your regular chain to buy your regular groceries or your pharmacy or whatever. So all the others had this opportunity to be on the market. And once you learn a new technique, just like of getting to know a new brand or whatever, you start to like have a habit, and after sometimes you just are starting this brand starts to grow. So what happened with COVID is that everybody was having the same opportunity, if we might say. So it's actually great. So I think it's from the e-commerce point of view, it's a great opportunity for all the small brands. From the other side, with social media, what we are watching every day is that like all the millennials, the Generation Z, and the people that are younger than me and you, they're really starting to appreciate the small ones, much better than the big ones. So everybody's having like the same kind of start, which is great.
And I know you are also interested in personal branding. So can you just give us your perspective? What is the similarity between company brand and personal brand, and what is maybe different? So just for people who are confused, what should I develop first, my personal brand or company brand, or how to develop both at the same time? What would be your thought?
Well, it depends, because it's just like we cannot generalize all these topics. But what is interesting for me with personal branding is that 90% of my job is actually branding, not personal branding. And when we do branding, we are thinking about brands like that they would be people, persons, right? So we are doing the other way around. We're imagining that when we're creating this brand for water, we're imagining that this water would be a person. What is great in a personal branding project is that you can learn directly from the person what are their benefits, what are their like great starting position to like actually grow their brand. So it is confusing, I can understand. Like, to answer your question, it's not easy, but the great thing is that if we're thinking about two separate things, at the end of the story, the strategies are very much similar, because for the regular corporate branding or product branding, we're trying to imagine a person, where for personal branding, we're having a person. Our job is just like to take the best part of this person and just communicate in them. Do you agree?
Anja, yeah, I agree totally. Like, it really depends about the industry and what is the leadership of the company, because we can, compare company to company, even from the same industry, and some of them, they have very strong, powerful personal brand, and some of them, they have very strong company brand, and customers at the end of the day decide which one they prefer. But branding is branding. I totally agree with you that like branding is never ending process, so you can always improve yourself, and you always have to message. You have to actually change based on the current situation in your market and globally. So Anja, for all people who are maybe want to know more about you, your company, and your work, what will be the best first step for them, like to visit your website, or if some of them they maybe are considering, wow, this is something which my company needs. So what do you recommend? How to reach out to you or to your team?
Yeah, most of our project and most of our process, it's really, really well defined on our website. However, our process sometimes is just different from project to project, and we're having always a very personal approach and a very personal a relationship with our clients. So what I would suggest is, yes, follow us on the social media, take a look at our website. But if you're having any kind of like project or product or service that you want to brand, or persons that you want to brand, yeah, let's catch up. Let's just like organize a short call, and then I will do it personally, talk with you, and learn how I can help you.
Anja, thank you so much for sharing your experience, your knowledge, and like congratulations one more time on all your achievements. And you are the real example or evidence that no matter where are you, even before COVID and especially now, like you can be in any small country, in big country, if you really follow your passion, your purpose, you can succeed no matter what. So Anja, thank you for sharing your story, and thank you for sharing your work. And for all of you guys who are interested in design and also in branding, in strategy of branding, I can say from my little bit experience compared with Anja's experience, it's so important. So please be free to reach to Anja, check her website, portfolio. You will be amazed. And if you find this is something which is relevant to you, please reach out to her. And Anja, thank you so much for being a member.
Thank you, Ed, for having me, and thank you for your beautiful community